Hello guys, Speed Chess Championship Finals are here. Magnus Carlsen versus Denis Lazavic and Alireza Firouzja versus Hikaru Nakamura. So let's see how this matches went. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but if you did, let me know if you enjoyed how it looked from the side. I think it's a great organized event. Last year, Hans was playing against Magnus in the semis, and then Alireza played against Hikaru as well. So the only chance is now that Denis Lazavic beat Hans, and Magnus is playing Denis. And Denis actually kicked off the match with the win against Magnus, as here he played knight c4. And it turns out that the pawn is simply moving. Magnus tries to stop, go from the side, but a3, and he simply needed to resign because king c2, a2, and guess what? Knight on c4 now blocks b2, b1 square is blocked. Bishop b2 doesn't really help either because then king e5 and king e4, and the game is basically lost. King e4, and then basically f1 pushes. It is a win. And then in game number 3, guess what? Same happened, but now Magnus was on the other side. So knight f5 is played. Now king e6, h6, and guess what? Now if bishop f8, h7, bishop is not on time, and if king goes h7, and once again king cannot go to g7, king cannot go to g8, and Magnus won the game. And this is an absolute masterpiece by Denis Lazavic. So here I'll show you the whole game. d4 is6, c4 c5, d5 takes, knight c3. We have some sort of Benko structures, hd, a4, knight f3, bishop d3, castle, bishop g5, bishop goes back, and I want to transpose to this moment here. King d2, rook e1, knight e5, knight h6, king f8, and now the position is better for Mr. Magnus Carlsen. Here he could have played bishop h3, the idea being is that g takes h3, knight f3, Magnus would have won a queen, but that didn't happen as Magnus played rook a7, trying to make things controlled on the 7th rank. c4, again another blunder, and again bishop h3 is now played. a5, b takes a5, once again leaving bishop unprotected, rook a5, bishop goes to c8, and it is a blunder which would result in an insane double rook sacrifice. Levy is probably very happy about this game, so knight f5 was best, and then you kind of trade pieces, and it is all good. While in the game, what happened was rook c5. Now bc5, bishop c5, rook e7, and rook e5. What an insane turnout of events. Magnus is stunned because he has no moves to play. So f takes e5 and queen g5. And guess what? This is an absolute zugzwang. Queen f6 is coming, there is no defense. Magnus played knight h5, but after queen f5, queen h8 checkmate has been threatened. If knight g7 goes back, queen f6 is a checkmate. And there is no real defense, bishop e6, queen h8. So Denis won probably one of the best games in this matchup. And then we had Magnus, who clinched this win in the following endgame. So he is up a pawn, but that pawn is doubled. So what we have on this chessboard is king d6, a blunder, king c3, and now king walks from the other side of the board, rook d8. The idea being is that after g takes f4, it looks like for a second that black are actually good because rook b8, they can attack the rook, but now king c5, and if king b8, king c6, f8, and right on time to save the game with bishop c4. So bishop b7, rook d7 takes the pawn, and now he was slowly converting. Rook f4 takes the pawn f3, and now it's just a matter of technique. But for Magnus Carlsen, it's no problem because here soon he actually sacrificed an exchange. The problem with it is bishop f7, g takes f7, and now this is controlled. So king d8, c6, and Magnus ended up winning the match with dominating score. While in the other matchup, Hikaru Nakamura had an absolutely insane run against Alireza Firouzja. Last year, Alireza ended up beating Hikaru, and this time Hikaru has great chances going into the match. So let's see how it turned out. We have Rai Lopez on the board, a4, Archangel's variation, bishop e3, d6, h3, h6, c3, rook e8, now knight bd2, bishop b6, knight h4. Bishop goes back, now trades, rook d1, knight 7, queen f3, and now g5. A bit aggressive, but I mean, you know, looks great. So bishop c2, queen e7 is a mistake, d4, and now we still get somewhat an equal position. Knight g6 takes, bishop b3, knight h5, rook e1, knight f4, and now f3. So knight goes to d3, f takes e4, sacrificing an exchange. And what's surprising is Alireza started making mistakes. Knight f3, not surprising in its blitz, so anything might happen, but Alireza now is in time pressure. Rook e8, queen f2, rook e7, bishop c2, queen c4. Now queen f6, rook e8 was a final blunder. Knight f5, checkmate is being threatened, and Alireza unfortunately wasn't on time as he captured. I mean, he had 2 seconds on the clock. He captured, and king g7 was checkmate, and then Alireza started turning things around. So d5, c4, e4, queen's gambit accepted, knight c3, knight b5. I'm not sure what these players are doing here. So here it looks like actually Hikaru wins the bishop, but queen e4, and the knight is being taken back, so that's no problem. And now castle, leaving bishop unprotected, rook e1, leaving bishop unprotected. Hikaru is farming brilliance. Now he had to move. Oh, Alireza is farming brilliance. Now he had to move bishop g4, h3 takes, and now knight d7, bishop f4, and rook c1. And this game, guess what? This game ended in next 13 moves. Knight b6, even though it's equal right now, takes, king d6, rook e1, rook a7, bishop d3, knight d4, and now queen g3. Queen goes back, h4, and Alireza is about to start a huge attack. f6, rook e3, queen h8, h5, takes, and now queen h3. f5, queen h5, rook f6, queen h4, queen f8, and now b4. So now if takes, what happened in the game, there is simple king d4, and now d6. And unfortunately, Hikaru wasn't on time to make a move and lost on time, even though this position is already lost, because rook d7, I mean, can be met with simple queen b6, and if knight, let's say, moves back, I mean, you can play d7, and the game basically ends, because rook d7, king d7, you're up a rook. And pretty soon, you know, it was a very, very close matchup. You know, Hikaru actually led the match, but unfortunately made a blunder, and they went into the Armageddon, where Alireza Firouzja, for the second year in a row, prevails against Hikaru, and let's see how it ended. Takes, castle, they play bullet games, knight c6 takes, queen e7 protect, rook e8, and now knight e4. Takes, and king d6, trying to push d4, takes, rook 8, rook c4, and now slowly start pushing this d4 pawn. Queen e5, king g7, queen b5. The position is equal, still equal, but now after king f3 it is a loss. So apparently queen d5 was passed, and somehow black wins the game. Queen a6 is played instead, a3, queen b7, queen f4, queen d6, queen f5, king h7, and final blunder. Trying to threaten checkmate, but unfortunately that is just bad, because queen b7, and you know, I post puzzles every day on Facebook, and a lot of people, you know, there are stupid blunders in bullet, and sometimes you can't explain them, and they're like, you're 2700 online, how can you miss that? I mean, top GM, number 2 in the world, plays rook c8, blundering queen b7, and you're asking me why I, let's say, blunder my rook in a game. Happens with everyone, and they're playing with increment as well, I believe. So yes, blunders happen. Now what is going to happen is Mr. Alireza Firouzja is going to play Magnus Carlsen tomorrow in the finals, as it happened 1 year ago. That day Magnus beat Alireza, and tomorrow Alireza has a chance to take revenge. While Hikaru beat Hans last year and now will be facing Dennis, And I mean, he is obviously a huge favorite against the Dennis as well. But let's see what happens. Anything might happen. Dennis is a very strong blitz bullet player, so it's gonna be fun. So let's see what happens in the finals. Now, see you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.